Mr. Abernathy, do you have anything to say?
Oh, I always have something to say.
Shit, time's up.
Thank you.
Yep.
For the record, you're
Bill's
Robert
really
Abernathy.
busy, and I know that, and as a result, Sutherland hasn't gotten what he's wanted, and he's wanted it since last summer, whatever. And he's really frustrated, and I know Bill's extremely busy, and I asked Bill, because I don't know who handles any of this stuff, why can't he get some help of some kind? Because he is doing a ton of things, and if it prevents somebody from being able to do business and get a special land use permit, and it keeps getting put off and put off and put off, it doesn't seem fair to me when this gentleman put in an application. He didn't do an application, he sent his son down, middle of last summer, and for whatever reason, he still doesn't have a special land use permit.
I don't know what the problem was last year, but I did see the first one. I had a copy of the first one that he did this year. I don't know if there's a date on this. At any rate, we had a meeting and we looked this over. And his drawing, for one thing, on this one, no, it's not to scale, but it doesn't cut it. For example, on the south side of the lot, he's showing 10 cars in a 76-foot space, okay? Now, I measured my car today, and it's 5.5 feet. Now, I took 76 and I subtracted 55, and that gave me 21, which gives you approximately 2 feet between a car. So you couldn't open a door to look at a car.
You couldn't
So
get out of
as
the car
far-
once you parked it.
As far, well, I just am doing my job. So as far as I'm concerned, this one is worthless.
Yeah.
So now I understand he did another one for Bill, which I haven't seen. So, it's all well and good to say he did this and he did this, but, give us something to work with, because if it's gonna be like this, I went to the property, and I don't see how cars can fit in front of where the trailers are, and it says that the trailers are gonna be where they are. So, there's a lot of things that he's gotta give us before,
He's gonna sell trailers.
That's from my point of view. I don't know how you feel about
No,
it, but that's from my point of
That's
view.
exactly it.
And I'm talking about the old drawing, which is obsolete now.
Last year,
And,
there was no drawings, I don't think, was there?
And-
No,
and
he
so
didn't give
it's
any
something-
mind, and he gave me a letter in December saying he changed his mind, that he wasn't gonna do a used car lot, that he was gonna do something else. So at that point, we returned his $500. Then Loretta's right where she showed. Now, the new drawing he gave me right off the bat, I can see problems, and so could Paul. He had in 66 feet, he showed 14 vehicles,
Well, that's
which is
better.
4.5 feet. Well, that's not gonna fit. He showed so many mobile homes and number of footages, which, he was only allowing like 10 feet for each mobile home. Well, they ain't gonna fit in 10 feet. And on down the line, that's where I'm at there. But on the first one that she's talking about, I wrote that all up in a letter form, which took a whole page, and I explained everything in detail, what was wrong and what needed to be, and I went over and personally met with him and went through each item, and he said he fully understand it, and then he was gonna correct the problem. Well, the new drawing is even worse than that
The one before.
So
I mean,
don't
it's
know
not
what
that
else
we
to
don't
do.
wanna do anything.
Oh, no,
I mean,
I
we
understand.
came there and we had a meeting, and Bill is doing something that really he shouldn't do. He is going through this whole process before he has anyone pay the money. Now, normal procedure would be, you pay the money when you turn in your paperwork,
Right.
and then we look it over.
And then it
Okay.
was-
But he hasn't paid a penny yet, and we've gone through this twice,
and it
so,
could be rejected, and they would have to pay for it each time.
it's not that we don't want to do it. It's just that we're not getting what we need.
Well, there are professional architects that do those.
Well, also, another thing, and I brought this up at that other meeting, our ordinance calls for, what is it, 2 by 3? 24 inch by 36 inch
Architectural
Yeah.
plan.
And
paper
professional
for the
architects.
drawing.
And professional architect.
And, you know, we're kind of fudging on that, allowing him to do a drawing on an 8.5 by 11 piece
Okay.
of paper. But, you know, if you're gonna do it on an 8.5, you know.
But you're really doing them a favor, telling them, this isn't gonna fly, you're gonna waste your money.
Yeah.
If you,
Because if it don't fly, he's gonna be visiting Paul Schmidt.
yeah. You know, so,
CBA.
when you're really doing them, you're doing them a favor.
But then
So
also, which,
typically, that's not a service that the that's provided for somebody. Normally, if you were gonna get a special land use permit to do what he's doing, he would hire an architect
Right.
to do all the drawings, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Okay, that
You
makes,
know, and an architect will make everything fit according to the footages and everything,
Yes.
and would
yeah,
meet with me, and we'd go through the ordinance, and they would
Yeah, I
understand the
know.
ordinances, and then draw accordingly to the ordinance.
Okay.
And most architects are well aware of the ordinances before they start. I mean,
Yeah.
the architect we use all the time, he knows these ordinances inside and out for Burtchville. And he's out of, you know, Detroit, so,
What?
but yes, they're very knowledgeable, they do the stuff day in and day out, so, and yes, it's gonna cost money, but,
It's
you
really
know, if you wanna run a successful business, you're gonna have to spend a little bit of money anyway. so,
Sure.
You know, you might as well start right from the ground up and hire architects, I mean, and then we can actually have something nice to look at, and, you know, they'll probably be proper and within code. Not always, but, you know, at least very close.
So, he's gonna have 4 trailers?
He's got those there, those are there now, you have to read, I mean,
Actually, I think there's 6 of them.
and one, I don't know, I didn't.
Customer parking.
But then we also were curious about the temporary office building and things.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, because like, you know,
And he was gonna get rid of the sheds on one of them, wasn't he, and all the
Yeah,
steps,
well,
and now
that's what
he's
he
not?
says. He says in one part, it's right up, that he's getting rid of the sheds and the staircases and everything else, and then in the drawing, you find them scattered all through the drawing, and they won't even fit in what he's got there for the number of feet that he's showing.
So,
You can obviously see
yeah, no,
that.
he doesn't even have the size of parking lots.
I didn't mean that to go.
no, but we're
However,
we're just
I
explaining.
never had an understanding, and I'm not sure that Pete even had an understanding,
says he
because the last time he was here, he asked for a copy of the last paperwork that was approved at the
Right.
meeting. And he just went back to his office and kind of copied it, which is what I think where the 8.5 on 11 sheet came from.
Yeah,
because he
I'm not complaining about the 8.5, 11 sheet, but I am complaining about.
If it's
I mean,
not right and it doesn't work out, absolutely.
I mean, if I can measure
understand
a
that.
car and, you know, do the math,
Right.
he can do that too, so, you know. so-
Your parking spots are usually 9 feet or 10 feet.
But I wasn't aware that normally you would hire an architect and that's how you would do it and bring everything in and present it before the board. It's good to know.
Yeah,
Well, right in the ordinance anyway, it tells specifically what you have to have on that thing.
I understand it, but I read it and it was really confusing to me, so I wouldn't be able to do
you're
it.
saying
I
our ordinance is confusing?
would, no, as to the,
Next?
These 3 minutes are up.
I want to hire somebody.
Okay, anything else
Yeah, make a motion.
before we break for summer vacation? Except for when we get proper paperwork from
Yeah.
Mr. Sutherland or Mr. Sutherland,
Yeah, so-
yeah.
Well, we adjourn.
Second?
Well, I was just gonna
Go
make
ahead.
a comment. As far as the election of officers, I mean, is there anybody here that would like to, you know, put themselves up for Loretta's position? I mean, I think it should be somebody with some experience. I mean, obviously, if Mike, you know, designates a couple new members to even replace myself or whatever,
Does he have a couple of them?
you know, are they gonna be qualified to run these meetings? Like you say, I would like to thank Loretta, she's done a fantastic job since I've been on the board, and she's gonna be hard to replace.
No one's hired me.
I was always told that if you can't be replaced, you can't be promoted.
Well, she's at the top, though, she's like, let's see,
Oh,
there's
top dog,
nowhere
that's
to
right.
go but down from her position.
Maybe she could stay if she wasn't the chairman. He doesn't have to be replaced.
Well, no, I don't, yeah, well, I told you, I would be
How
happy
can
to
you
be
get back on the board?
Pardon?
How can you get back on the board in the position that you'd like to have?
Her resignation has not been accepted yet anyhow, I don't believe.
By the board.
By the board.
Oh,
Oh,
even
by
if
the
she, even
board.
if she resigns,
Yeah.
Mike can say, would you like to be on the board? If she says yes, she's reappointed to the board.
Well, that'd be
The
cool.
board picks the, picks them.
And it's not her year up anyhow,
Did we have a motion to adjourn?
so. No.
Yes,
I'm
Mr.
just
Briley.
backed it up because I thought Larry wanted to talk. We have a
I'll second that
I'm thinking
motion.
maybe Larry wanted to become chairman.
No, I'm not qualified to become, that's what I'm saying. If
Well,
I
I'll
think
tell you
somebody-
what, I have written everything you need
Okay.
to know, it's in that.
In that little envelope? That
Yeah.
doesn't seem
Well,
like
you
you
like
wrote
my
enough.
reports, it's just like that, it tells you everything you need to know.
I think she's sugarcoating it personally. Yeah.
No, that's the way I do things, I mean, you know,
I'll vouch for that.
And you get a raise.
I.
Yeah, yeah. Get a raise. Forgot about that.